when we were getting ready to leave, we went to dump the tanks. Patrick figured out that our sewer hose has a crack in it. So now we're going to Camping World to buy a new sewer hose. It's kind of important. And then we might be staying at a Harvest Host. We're still kind of doing a little back and forth thing with them on the app to see if we can go. No, it seems like we're too long for their site, which I'm like confused about because we're one of the smallest RVs on the road. So I don't know. We'll see. So first things first, we were heading over to Camping World to get ourselves a new sewer hose. We're pretty sure the one we had was original, so it's probably time for it to get replaced.
That's the one way to right onto Sycamore Drive.
Yep.
In a quarter mile, your destination will be on the left.
We're turning this thing in.
You're gonna drop it off.
Yeah. They have trailer parking?
Watch they don't.
Yeah.
No, we can't accommodate you, sorry. We were joking, but when we pulled in, they really didn't have RV parking.
You'd think for a trailer place, it'd be like, pull in here, it's okay.
Yeah. Patrick went in to grab the new sewer hose. He's just gonna run in, get it, and then we're gonna be back on the road, heading south. The last couple days have been a little rough, just because we've been moving so constantly. We don't like this process of driving every single day, especially not long drive days. Like yesterday, we drove about 5 hours, which took about 7 hours because we have to stop, walk the dog, stop and eat lunch, all that stuff. And then we have to go a little bit slower on certain roads, like 95, where there's that really bumpy section yesterday was just not good for the trailer. So we had to go, we can't do 70 on that road. So it takes us a little bit longer to cover the ground than it actually says on Google Maps. But hopefully yesterday was our most difficult travel day. And at least at this point, we've gotten to good weather, which is wonderful. We were able to keep the windows open last night, which was great. So I'm hoping today we are trying to drive about 2.5 hours. I'm still waiting for the Harvest Host to approve us if we can stay there tonight. So hopefully we're going about 2.5 hours today and then about 2.5 hours tomorrow. And then we'll be staying in one place for 2 weeks. And I'm really looking forward to that because it's like moving every single day is very unsettling. It's definitely not our travel style, but it's what we had to do to make the timeline that we are on. So we'll do it. It's just not our favorite thing. With our new sewer hose, we got back onto 95. We crossed over into Georgia. And luckily this part of I-95 South was better. It wasn't as bumpy, but by that point we were kind of done with it and we decided to start turning inland. And luckily I was able to request a same-day stay with a Harvest Host that was kind of a little bit over in the direction that we were heading as we skirted over into Florida. So we thought it would be a good way to see some of the rural parts of Georgia. And this Harvest Host is on a pecan farm. So those trees that you see on the left there are pecan trees. Okay, I think we found Bill. All right, thank you. Bye.
Bill?
Oh, Redford.
Where would you like it? That's cool. That's fine.
Good?
Perfect.
Okay.
It's great how different each Harvest Host stay is. They are so unique from each other. When we stayed at the brewery, it was a completely different experience than staying at this pecan farm. We got this wonderful sunset behind these tall pine trees, and we got to sit outside. It was just a little bit buggy, but that's all right. It was worth it to enjoy the beautiful sunset, and we got to take a little tour of the farm and see what Georgia is all about. We woke up to a beautiful morning the next day. It was starting to feel a lot like spring, and it was starting to sound a lot like spring too. We were getting tired of being in the car and packing and unpacking the Scamp every day, but this was our last push to get toward Florida, and we were feeling pretty motivated. We were so close.
A really nice property.
Yeah.
These are all the pecan trees on the right here. Our harvest house is so different than staying in a campground. Looking forward to being in one spot for a little while. We've been moving every day. Today's Sunday. We left Wednesday. So we've been moving every day. So I'm looking forward to not having to move. Because it really, like, even when we're driving for just a few hours every day, it's amazing how much time it eats up. I feel like all we've been doing is setting up, breaking down, driving, setting up, breaking down, driving. So I'll be glad when we get to Suwannee River.
Yeah.
Alright. Final push to Florida.
Since we were getting closer to our destination, we stayed inland and took our time. This way we got to go through some of the little towns of Georgia, and this is the way that we enjoy traveling much more. It's so much more scenic than being on 95.
Homerville? What?
Don't.
We went through this last little bit of Georgia before we finally crossed the border into the northern part of Florida.
Good. Alright, so going through Jasper, we're heading toward Live Oak. We made it into Florida. We just stopped and pulled over to have some lunch because it's about an hour further to get into the campground, and it's about 2 hours until we can actually check in. So we're stopping for some lunch.
You can check in at 2.
At 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank goodness today is a fairly short driving day, so not bad. But the weather is great. Sunny, not too hot, really nice.
Yeah.
Redford, do you like Florida?
After we had some food and some coffee in the Scamp, we continued our drive into Florida. We went through Jasper and some of the smaller towns just over the border, and we were heading toward some of the areas that we actually got to drive through just briefly when we did our trip back in November, like Live Oak. We did a quick drive through Live Oak, and I remember thinking, this is cute, we should come back here and explore a bit more. So that's a lot of what this trip is about, spending more time in this area, really seeing if this is somewhere that we like and would possibly like to move to and create a little home base here for the tiny house. I was glad that the first campground we were staying in was the same one that we stayed at last time when we were here in November, the Suwannee River Rendezvous. That was a scouting trip to see if we wanted to come back for a longer stay, and we did enjoy it, so we decided to come back with the Scamp. And this time we're going to be at a site that has partial hookups. We'll have water and electric. As we were driving, we started to see some familiar sights. One of the things you'll see often in Florida are these planted pines. These are grown to be harvested about 25 years after they're planted to make paper products.
That's so weird. It doesn't feel like we've been gone that long.
No. That's where you drop your trailer.
Oh, to go in the water?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's nice that we recognize it now. Alright, good. Sit. We're not there.
Another one back there.
Another trailer. Yesterday when we stopped at Walmart, we were going back into the car and somebody pulled in right in front of us, and we were both kind of surprised by it. And being from New Jersey, your first instinct is if somebody comes up to you in a parking lot, they're probably gonna ask you for money.
Or worse.
So you have to shift your mindset of no, we're in the South, people just start random conversations. So this very nice couple came over and they were asking us all sorts of questions about the trailer and telling us about how they like to go camping and things like that. So very nice. Yeah, we had fun talking about the camper, but at first you're just like, wait, what do these people want?
Yeah.
It takes a little while. We have to like calm ourselves down, reacclimate to being in the South.
We arrived at the campground and got the Scamp all set up.
You made yourself right at home. Yeah. I'm glad to be out of the car. So glad.
Yeah.
Redford, are you glad to be out of the car? Hi. Yeah, okay.
I was thinking we could, for now, we could just put the gazelle right there.
You know, just pop it up? Yeah. It's not too buggy right now.
Yeah, it's not
It's
bad.
nice. Yeah.
They don't bite, they just touch
They're just
you.
flying around, yeah.
Yeah.
We were so glad to finally be done driving. We left early on Wednesday morning, and this was Sunday afternoon that we finally arrived at our campground, and we were going to be staying here for 2 weeks. This was the longest stay of our whole trip, and it was really just to help us kind of get settled in and stay in one spot and use it as a jumping off point to explore the area. But we got the gazelle set up. We were a little rusty because it was the first time setting it up this season, but this is great, especially in this kind of a campground where there's not a lot of privacy between sites. We can put the walls up and it helps us to feel like we have a little bit of privacy.
We've settled into our site. It's so good knowing that we don't have to move tomorrow. It's been a really hectic few days, but as soon as we got here and had everything set up, we set up the gazelle. Redford's in there. He's kind of hanging out, hopefully starting to settle. I had to jump on the Wi-Fi, which worked surprisingly well. I was able to check my email, which I haven't checked in like 5 days. And I was able to order a new filter for the Berkey and sent some stuff over to our accountant because we have to meet with him tomorrow. So now we just have to figure out if we can get Starlink to work around here so that we can do our meeting with the accountant tomorrow, and then I'll feel a lot better once I know that our internet is actually going to work so we can get some stuff done while we're here. But super happy to be here. The weather is really great, and we finally get to like really settle in and start working on what we're here for, which is looking at property. So, all right, you're gonna take a shower. Oh, it's so nice. Bathrooms and showers right there. And I'm gonna start cooking dinner. Okay. Yay, we made it. It's like hard to believe.
I'm gonna pass out 7.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired, but we're here.
It was a great campsite. We had this giant oak tree right behind the Scamp. We had one neighbor behind us, but for right now there was nobody in front of us. Although a few people warned us about camping in Florida in March, and we were about to find out why.
We drove over to the open parking lot because we're on a mission to test the Starlink. This is really important because for the 2 weeks that we're here, we need to be able to have really strong internet so that I can do video conferences. We have one tomorrow. So we're going to test it now and make sure it works. If not, we might have to go drive somewhere else, but hopefully we can just do it right here. Good. All right, it worked. We have mobile internet. There's the router. We just came over to the parking lot, so now we know it at least works right here. So that's good. We'll be able to see our accountant tomorrow.
Now that we knew we had strong internet for this trip, we were able to settle into our campsite and get ready for our 2 weeks in this area. Make sure that you are subscribed because we have a whole lot more to share from areas all over northern Florida.
Injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air, and 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again, and though time flies, we'll have enough to realize this bigger than the both of us.